Right, we're going live, Kim. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've been joined by Kim Herman from Kim Herman. My name is Lisa, and my Business Plus with Lisa. I'm the founder of Worldwide Awake Business Network, and I just love connecting and showcasing really the amazing people that we have as part of our community. So thank you for joining me today, Kim.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for the opportunity. Excited to be here.
What I'd love to do is just tell people a little bit about you to start with. So you're an intuitive, multi-dimensional transformation therapist and coach. Oh my goodness, that is such a mouthful and so impressive. Kim's very passionate about helping others. I've known Kim for about 7 years now, and she loves to heal people's hearts, transform their mindset, and connect with their innate gifts and passions. And at the age of 37, Kim found herself completely burnt out and an emotional wreck, struggling with anxiety, and she could no longer push down the hurt and the pain she suppressed. And she found that it rose up as anger. And that actually led her on her self-development and healing journey. And now she works with her clients on all levels of their being: conscious, unconscious, physical, energetic, and soul. And she now uses the tools that helped her heal to help others overcome their past, reactivating their self-worth and inner belief, allowing them to thrive and to create a life that they love. My goodness, that is such amazing work, Kim. You must get so much satisfaction out of this.
Oh, I do. Every time I work with a client, it's so rewarding to see them step into, reclaim their power back, really, is what they're doing. And it's really rewarding. I feel very grateful and honoured to be able to do this work.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you also do something that's very much the other side of the brain, which is bookkeeping, don't you?
No, I'm not doing that anymore. I've recently let that go. So I do it for our business. But yes, I have.
Yeah.
I used to be, I feel like it was in another lifetime. I used to be an accountant. And then over the COVID period, I did some bookkeeping work remotely, which was great. And there's lots of, I feel like I have lots of sides to myself and my personality.
Yeah, as do a lot of people, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. So, Debbie,
Hi,
thank you for
Debbie.
joining us on the live stream. It's great to have you here watching. If you've got any questions, Deb, please be sure to ask them. Kim, would you like to start by just letting us know a little bit more about yourself, how you like to spend your free time and your family, and maybe where you were brought up?
Yeah, sure. So I've lived most of my life in Perth and I love Western Australia. I mean, I was born in Sydney, but I don't know, Western Australia, I think we're very blessed here. We have the most beautiful beaches and I don't know, it's a lot more relaxed than Melbourne and Sydney, that's for sure. I know when I go back and visit there. And I have a beautiful family. My husband, Luke Herman, who is an electrician and also works in the healing and mindset space, working with men, and an adult son now. He's 18 now and a 16-year-old daughter. Life's pretty busy because my daughter's heavily involved in basketball. So we're either at training or games or state games. But I love sport. It's another one of my loves. I love watching sport, all sorts of sport. I love health. I used to be I am a qualified naturopath. And I guess I moved into the mindset healing space because I found most of my clients' chronic health conditions really stemmed from emotional stuff that needed to be looked at and healed.
That is so interesting. And I actually forgotten all about the fact that you were a naturopath, because I think you were when I first met you, or you were a practicing naturopath when I first met you. And one of the things that I've really come to realize, particularly over the last few years, is that our emotions actually settle into our body, don't they? So our mind and our spirit is so totally aligned. And when we can be healthy in our mind and our spirit, then it really does follow onto the body, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think we're often brought up, or a lot of our generations have been brought up to not express our emotions. You know, when we were kids, we were told to shush and be quiet and don't cry and don't be silly that you're upset about something. So we've been conditioned to not express our emotions, and emotions are meant to be expressed and flow through us. But when we don't express them, then it sits in our body and absolutely contributes to disease.
That is so, so true. And what I find really interesting now that I'm older and at that age to, well, not only am I at that age to be a grandmother, I actually am.
Yeah.
And I find it really interesting, not only with my own daughter, but with the young parents watching the way they actually deal with a child when they're upset. And it's just fascinating to see how different people treat the child, and you can kind of see the writing on the wall, can't you? Understanding how important it is to the way that you deal with a child when they're upset and their anger and their trauma um, really plays a big part in their adulthood, doesn't it, Kim?
Absolutely. And I think the thing to remember is our behaviours. So when we are a parent, or the mums that we're seeing, all of our behaviours stem from our belief systems, but are usually the biggest impact on how we behave is our own feeling our own shame or our own trauma. So you'll get a lot of young mums out there, they might have a child that's screaming and they may behave in a way that we might witness and go, oh, they're not being very nurturing, but they've gone into a shame response and a trauma response. They're embarrassed that their child's acting a certain way, and then that can impact the way they respond. So, all our unhealthy behaviours stem from shame and trauma, really.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be an ideal world if before humans decided to have children, they actually worked on healing themselves first? That would just make such a difference, wouldn't it?
It would. And you know what? Having children really was the catalyst to my healing journey, because I was an accountant at the time, and we're very much in control of things.
Yep.
And for
Yeah.
anyone that's had children, they know that you're not in control anymore.
Oh,
And
no.
I think that really pushed me into a cycle of overwhelm, and then all these other emotions that I'd suppressed for a long, long time started coming up. So they really were the catalyst for my healing journey. But yeah, in an ideal world, it would be great for everyone to embrace self-development and healing, because it's an ongoing, there's no destination. It doesn't mean we're not broken. It's not about being fixed, but it's about being, aware of our behaviors, being aware of our thoughts, and also understanding that we have the ability to change the belief systems we have, that we have the ability to reprogram and change the program that we have, and heal trauma so that it's not having that emotional impact on us anymore. We can't make it disappear, but we can certainly heal it so it doesn't have that emotional control over us anymore.
And a lot of it is acceptance of oneself, isn't it? Like, so many people are so hard on themselves. They're not their own best friend.
No. So many people treat themselves like they would an enemy, certainly not like they would their best friend. Yeah, it's sad.
For sure.
And we've
Kim,
all done it. I've done it.
Yeah, I can relate 100%. How has your expertise in past life regression and spirituality contributed to your own personal and professional growth? Because we are amongst business owners, especially in the context of business ownership.
I mean, I think for me, when I first was taken on a past life journey myself, it really blew my mind, and I was able to tap into a lifetime where I was able to access some gifts, some belief systems that really I could bring back into this lifetime. And to me, that's the way I run my sessions. It's about, let's see what gifts and wisdom you can bring back access in that lifetime to help you in this lifetime. So that can be in your personal life and your business. At the time, I was really struggling with what was happening in the world the last few years, and I was not in a very good space. And this lifetime helped me, hair in my mouth, help me find a level of acceptance and peace. Not acceptance as in it's okay with what's happening, but acceptance in it was okay for me to focus on my world and what was going on within me, and that can project out to the rest of the world and help. And it actually helped me cope dramatically. So, and I believe that when we're doing well in our personal lives, then that always is going to reflect into our business, always, without a doubt. We're going to feel more confident. We're going to have, feel more certain about what we're doing than when we're feeling unsettled in our own personal world.
Absolutely. Can you elaborate on practical techniques and approaches that business owners can use to explore their past lives and able to leverage the knowledge for their own professional development? Like you've just explained that you accessed your past life. Maybe if you could just also explain exactly what that means and what that looks like for somebody that's not familiar with this type of territory.
Yeah, sure. So I use a form of guided meditation hypnosis journey. I'm very much about, in all the work I do with my clients, it's about helping them access the answers they're seeking, not psychically going in and me telling them what I see. It's more empowering for the individual to have their own experience and journey and access it themselves. So I'm just the guide to help allow them to do that. So through hypnosis and deep meditation, going on a journey and accessing that, we set an intention at the beginning of what it is you're hoping to achieve. And, throughout that hypnosis and guided journey, we're accessing different aspects, different times during that lifetime. I'm facilitating certain questions to help them find the answers that they're seeking, and then they're able to bring it back. So it's about working with a therapist or a coach that's, I guess, trained to do this, that can take you on that journey to allow you to access it.
So is this something that takes an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or is it something that people do regularly with you?
Look, my sessions go for about an hour and a half. So that allows the time in the beginning to set intention, and then also some time afterwards to unpack it, have a bit of a discussion about what came up for them, what they saw, what they experienced, how that relates to them now, how they could utilize that in their life or their business. Sometimes it goes a little bit over an hour and a half, but generally an hour and a half.
And who's your typical person that would come and see you? Is it men and women, or people of a certain age, or people that are in crisis?
I mean, look, I've mainly had women use the service. I think women are more inquisitive into that more woo-woo aspect of, outside of general mainstream mindset work. But that's not to say men don't do it. Look, I've had women in their early 20s, or a whole range of age groups. I think it's just it's attractive to those people that are in a place in their life where they just are on that journey of exploring, and they've been drawn to more alternate processes, and they take that step.
So have any of these business owners actually found the work that you've done with them, has it affected their business success positively? Have you got any stories that you can share with us about that?
Yeah, so I have had one client who was a little unsure on the direction she wanted to take her business. So she had a few ideas of where she wanted to head. And so the journey that we went on really allowed her and cemented for her, I guess, a level of more certainty in the direction she wanted to go in. So she kind of came out that going, yep, now I know this is definitely the direction I want to go in. So,
and that probably could have saved her, because people tend to waste weeks, months, sometimes years, don't they? And one of the big things for me, having worked in aged care at the end of life, is that's my biggest thing. I don't ever want to look back and have any regrets about what I could have, should have done, or wanted to try, because we're here in my way of thinking to actually experience whatever it is that is going to bring us that level of joy. So if somebody can meet with you and they can feel more certain that they're actually doing, and also affirmed, I guess, because a lot of people find it difficult to take risks, don't they? So for whatever the investment is to come and see you, it's probably money well spent, I would imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, and like I said, even if they're just struggling with something in their personal life, that, like I said, it always, when we're not doing well in our personal life, it reflects in our business. And
Yeah.
sometimes we don't think it is, but it is. And so, you know, even when business owners come to help deal with stuff on a personal level, it still helps them because their mindset's in a better place.
Yeah,
To then do the
absolutely.
things that they want to do in their business. And I love what you mentioned about, you know, we're here to live life and do things that bring us joy. And that's one thing I would preach from the treetops always, is that as human beings, part of the experience is for us to do things that bring us joy. And I love seeing people give themselves permission to step in and do that.
Yeah, that's something that I still struggle with at times. And I started listening to Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, quite a few years ago now, and that for me was absolutely life changing. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
allowed to be happy. I've got permission to look after myself. I thought that this gig was supposed to be really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being the last of the, in that baby boomer generation too, it's probably very typical. I'm probably very typical of somebody of our generation.
Because we grow up seeing that life is a certain way, you know, the 9 to 5 job, and you go to uni and you go get a job, and that it was kind of been programmed into us that that's what life is.
Yeah.
But we have full control to create life the way we want it, really.
Yeah, which is a wonderful feeling as well. You said, Kim, that your husband, Luke, also does work, but more so with males. So I know from my own experience, when I've actually passed somebody on to you before, you actually felt that they would be better speaking to Luke. So that's exactly what happened. Did you want to just take the opportunity to let anyone watching that might be a male and would like to know more about your husband?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, he's worked with women as well, and I've worked with men. I guess there's a lot of men out there that, I don't know, I think they find it easier to relate to a man, especially when they're struggling emotionally, to have another male get it and understand. You know, Luke's been on his own healing journey where he's struggled with depression and anxiety in the past, and he's a down to earth tradie. So he has a electrical business that he runs. So he's a regular everyday guy. And I think, like I said, yeah, a lot of guys find it easier to connect with someone that's also a male that can then understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So it's about comfort. And then sometimes we'll have a man inquire that feels that no, they need to work with a woman for some whatever reason. They feel maybe safer with a woman because they have had bad experiences with men in the past, and vice versa. But he helps men. He most of his work is he runs an 8-week program helping men, look at healing, unhelpful belief systems that we've accumulated in our childhood, because most of it stems from the age of 0 to 7, and traumas. There's a lot of men out there. We talk about trauma a lot in the sense of women, because I think when women talk about it more. But there's a lot of men out there that have experienced traumatic events that have really impacted their life emotionally. And then that plays out in their relationships, it plays out in their work, it plays out in how they feel about themselves. And it's really nice to see more men being open to working on themselves.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think in a lot of ways, men have really fallen between the cracks and really are struggling. And so many children, both boys and girls, are now growing up in households where not only don't they have two parents raising them, but they often have that conflict between two parents and sometimes four parents because they've got all the um, co-parenting happening with all the split families. So it's just such a confusing world, isn't it?
It certainly is, and one of the programs Luke and I offer is a relationship course. And we often say to couples, are you here to rekindle the relationship, or are you here to heal so you can have an amicable separation? And sometimes they come and don't know, and then they work it out during the process. But being able to heal, because most of the behaviors, like I said, that have come into the relationship that have made it toxic have stemmed from both of their childhoods. Even if they're able to heal and find a place where they can be amicable, in itself is life-changing for the whole family.
It is life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. One thing we haven't talked about is skepticism. Now, with the type of work that you do, you must get a lot of skepticism. I guess you're only attracting those that are open to the type of work that you're doing. So how do you worry about addressing any skepticism in the professional sphere?
I used to at first, but then I went and worked on my shame and beliefs around worrying about what people thought of me. And now I don't worry about it anymore. They're just they're just not my ideal client. They're not ready to do the work, and that's okay. Everyone's entitled to have their own belief systems and do what they feel is right for them. And, if they're interested in the work that I do, then they'll find me. And if they're not interested in the work I do, then we just don't work together. And that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, for sure. Have you got any practical advice that you can offer to business owners who want to use past life insights to enhance their leadership skills or decision making or overall business strategies? Like if somebody's sitting here watching this and thinking, okay, so I'm resonating kind of with what you're saying, but how is this going to help my business? Have you got anything you can respond to with that, Kim?
Yeah, I think it's a great process to look into. If you have been aware that you're feeling stuck or struggling in an area and you've tried lots of the other things, like you might have tried some general belief work or mindset work, but you still find there's something there blocking you, then the past life regression can certainly be a process that could help you unlock the core issue of it. Because, we know on a scientific level, we know we can inherit beliefs from our ancestors. I believe that we've had past lives. Like there may be people out there that don't believe, they might believe this is it. We have one life and that's it. And but if you believe in the potential that you've had past lives, I believe we've had hundreds, if not thousands of lives. Because I also believe we can, I have recorded a lifetime of mine on another planet. So, when you think some of the things we could have experienced in those lifetimes, when we look back at history that we're aware of, and how that could be influencing us in a positive or in a negative or a positive way, there's always magic and knowledge and gifts that we can bring back from those to help you now, even if it's just like being able to let go of something that's stopping you. Yeah, that's weird. Hang on, I'm just gonna. My camera's it's just kicked me off my camera.
We lost you.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, Debbie Hoggs just made the comment that before becoming a parent, she didn't even know she had stuff to work on. Oh, look, that is so true. I don't know. Can you hear me, Kim?
I can't even.
Okay, I
don't know what happened there. It got stuck.
You're back.
I don't know what happened, but it got stuck and it kicked me off my camera, and I'm back now. So
I want to come back and talk about the planet, but I've just realised Debbie made a comment about before being a parent, we don't even know we have stuff to work on. I always have a little giggle to myself because I was a fairly
I
not
think
by
Debbie's
choice,
right there. I think,
but I didn't actually have children until my early 30s. And so I was the person that used to walk through shopping centres in my 20s saying, you want to know what's wrong with that kid? You just ask me, I'll tell you, because I know. But it wasn't until I had kids that I realised I really didn't know. We still got you there?
oh, now I can't hear you very well.
We're having trouble with the internet. Kim and I were actually saying right at the beginning before we jumped on that we're both having a few internet issues. We're in Perth, Western Australia, and our internet's normally a lot better, but it is a bit of a cloudy day. You're back now? Yeah. So what would you like to say about what Debbie said here?
I think she's absolutely spot on. We don't know we have the stuff. I mean, we're still young. Like look, I think there's more younger people coming up and stepping in and doing the work than there used to be. Like I've gone to a lot of women's circles and that where I see a lot of younger women coming through. But yeah, generally we don't know. They're our biggest teachers. We realise that we start parenting the way our parents did and we never wanted to parent that way, or we realise that we're not coping very well or feeling very overwhelmed easily and we don't understand why. And that can usually then send us on that journey. But yeah, Debbie, 100%.
Yeah, you said before, Kim, about having a lifetime on another planet. Now, I would not be a very good interviewer if I did not explore that a little bit more, because there's going to be people listening and going,
it's interesting
yeah, right,
because
radio.
It's interesting because when you asked me about skepticism, that was coming out talking about that. Oh my gosh, I sat in fear of that for so long.
Yep.
And I guess I started tapping into my starseed lifetimes, which is a whole, another level of spirituality. So starseeds are souls that have lived many lives on other planets that are now in earthly human bodies, and have chosen or been chosen to live here to help Earth which is currently going through a major spiritual ascension. So the consciousness of the planet is rising at a very, very fast rate, like it has never been seen before or for a long time. And so they're here to help and assist with that. So yes, I sat in a lot of fear about sharing that information for a long time.
So I'm just trying to picture this. So and I know you shared with me that you were in the house and then all of a sudden you recognized that you were singing light language. So I don't know whether this is part of this conversation, but I'm kind of guessing that you're meditating and then this comes to you. So you realize that you've actually had life on another planet. And hey, I think it would be a little bit arrogant myself for us to think that Earth's the only planet in the whole the whole thing. I can't even think of the word for it. So no judgment on my part, but just really curious to know, at what age did this happen and what did that look like? Tell us some more.
The starseed side of me connecting with that and the light language has only been in the last 18 months. So it's very, very, very recent. And I've been a very spiritual, I mean, we're all spiritual beings, but I've been actively spiritual since I was 5. So I've always been interested in delving into it and talking to my guides. And so it was very, very, very recent. And, 18 months ago, not very long ago at all. And I actually remember I laughed because I used to know a lady 4 years ago that used to talk about starseeds and the Galactic Federation of Light, which is like the governing body. And I used to think she was nuts. I thought, man, you're loopy. And so when I started connecting with it, I was like, oh my gosh, I've become that loopy nuts woman.
It's good that you can laugh about it.
It is. And you know what? I don't care if people think I'm mad. The ones that are meant to remember and connect with that part of themselves will be interested in it, and the ones that aren't won't.
Yeah. And it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I guess like you, I remember as a child loving David Attenborough used to have a brother that used to do documentaries on aliens and UFOs and other planets and Loch Ness Monster and all those things. And I remember I used to love it as a teenager and kid. I was always fascinated and interested in that side of things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And now it makes
yes,
it makes sense.
it does.
Somebody's just said that she's the
The
loopy nuts
loopy
woman
nuts
too,
number
Kim.
2. Right. You know what? There's more out there than we realize. I think there's a lot of people that were just too afraid to speak about it. And I've noticed now that I have been more outspoken about it, how many people go, oh my gosh, I'm fascinated by that, or I've been really interested in that sort of stuff for ages, and I believe in that too. And they're often people that I would have not picked as being open to that.
Yeah.
So it's exciting times. It's an exciting time to be on Earth, and witnessing, yes, there's some awful things happening on the planet at the time, but it's part of the journey. As more light comes onto the planet, we see more of the dark starting to rear its head up, trying to fight back. But like I've always said, the light always wins.
Yeah. Well, it certainly works in my bedroom anyway. Like when light, if it's dark and I put the light on, it wins.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In a very simplistic term. Debbie's just, she had another comment here too. She said that as a nanny in England, before children, she heard her mother talking to the children then and where I decided I needed to change something. Awareness is key. Okay, yeah, so that's interesting that Debbie actually made that a very conscious decision prior to having children. And I think that's often the case. We look at what we don't want to be or what we don't want to emulate, and we say, I'm not going to be like that. So that's very, very powerful, isn't it?
Yep. It's an important part of our personal development and growth is to recognize what we don't want to be. But I also believe it's really important to connect with what we do want to be as well. Because when we know and connect with what we do want to be, because it's amazing how many people I work with, when I ask that question, well, how do you want it to be? And they have no idea.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to step into that. It's really hard to be that when you don't have an idea of what it is you want to be. Because once you know and have an idea of what it is you want to be, you can start, well, how would that person act? How would that person behave? And you can start emulating those behaviors. And, if you're struggling, okay, I need to do something to help me be that. What is it who do I need to seek help from to help me overcome what's stopping me from being that person that will allow me to be that person?
Yeah, and so many of us just don't take the time. Like I love the analogy about if you're going to chop down a tree, then you need to spend as much time sharpening the axe as you do chopping down a tree. And that was a motivational book. I've been reading motivational books since my teenager years. I've always been a weirdo, never been a proper teenager. I'm sure I'm an old soul, but yeah, I think that's really interesting. Just before I remove Debbie's comment from the screen, just and I'm sure you're aware of this, Kim, because I think you do know Debbie, but she's actually a children's confidence coach. So not only has she had that realization and then very successfully parented her daughters with her husband, but now she's actually taken it a step further and running a very successful business. And I'm actually really looking forward to interviewing Debbie about the work that she's doing to help children be the best versions of themselves as well.
And that's it. She's getting in. Well, amazing work that you're doing, Debbie, getting in there and helping kids while they're young. Because like I said, when kids are confident and they feel good about themselves, then the behaviours they exhibit are positive. When they feel shame and bad about who they are, then often the behaviours are unhealthy and can be toxic. So that's, amazing.
Yeah, for sure. You're talking about people needing to understand what they want. And I know that you and I have history. One of the things that we had worked on previously was creating a vision board workshop. And I know it's something that we're both very, very passionate about. And you may or may not be aware that we've actually got one coming up for our business members in January at Katie's home. Katie actually did a vision board workshop with me a number of years ago, and she had this home on a vision board workshop. Now, I'm not saying because she came to my house and she put the house on the vision board workshop that's the reason it's there by any means, but it just fills me with excitement because I'm so excited for her and her family on lots of different levels for lots of different reasons. But that day of actually doing the vision board workshop and the new one that we've got coming up, it was such a beautiful experience being with like-minded souls and talking. I just can't describe the energy and the love that's in a room when you do that type of exercise and you have those visuals and then you put it and it kind of connects you to your inner child as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, being creative, absolutely. And vision boards are amazing, and especially when you continue to work with it, not just make it. A lot of people sometimes make a vision board and then it just gets kind of pushed aside, because it's about what we connect with and focus with is what we attract into our lives. And that's what's so wonderful about creating a vision board, is we can see it in pictures and then formulate that emotional connection to those images to help bring it into fruition into our life. So yes, exciting.
Very exciting. So hopefully we'll see you there, Kim.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, please do. 22nd of January, 2 lucky day as well. So Debbie said, yes, it is the reason Katie's house is manifested with a million exclamation marks. Paravision board, dream boards is massive.
Yep.
I'm not sure whether Katie will agree with that, but I think her house was underway. But anyway, oh, so we might finish up, Kim. And in finishing up, I just wanted to say once again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise and your knowledge and your passion about how people can improve their personal lives and their happiness, which then in turn improves their families and their business and their prosperity, by being open to connecting to their past lives and going through that process. I know that you have there how people can contact you. You've got your website address there. So if anybody wants to reach out to Kim, do you have any closing comments that you would like to make?
First of all, I want to say thank you very much for having me on, and thank you for everything that you do, Lisa, for our community. I've loved coming on here and chat. And I guess if you're feeling the inkling to tap into a past life, if you're feeling drawn to it, then feel free to contact me. I'm happy to answer any questions. You can find me on Facebook as well, through Messenger. And I think the biggest thing I would love to share is don't be afraid. Facing your past, if you've got past hurts and trauma or anything, it can feel scary, but there's so much magic on the other side when we do the work, when we're prepared to go there, and when you work with a good therapist, and it doesn't have to be me, I mean, anyone else you're drawn to work with to help you on that journey, it makes the journey not so bad, it makes it easier, and you reach that gold on the other side, because we're all here on this earth to live a life of joy, to be able to enjoy it, to live a life where we feel loved, when we love ourselves. So, I would just want to share, don't be afraid of going on that journey with whoever you're drawn to take you on, guide you and support you on that journey.
I guess in some cases too, Kim, it might be very releasing for somebody that is living a life that they're continually feeling like, why me? What have I done? I'm a nice person. I'm a good person. What's going on here? And just feeling that sense of hopelessness, and then being able to connect and perhaps understanding that it really is coming from a whole other place that they have had no control over. So that must be very, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. It must be
liberating.
Liberating. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, life-changing and liberating to not have to live with that guilt and shame and feeling of hopelessness.
It's about, like I said, doing this work is about reclaiming your power. It's about you reclaiming the power and realizing that you have the choice and the ability to make decisions, to do the healing, to make decisions in how you behave, that to create an amazing life for yourself. Like we really, that is, I know when I realized that, because so often when we've experienced hardships in our life or we're struggling, it's very easy for us to go into the poor me, why me, and feel like the whole world's against us and nothing's going to change, and nothing does change when we're stuck in that place. But when we realize that we have the power to change that, it's incredibly liberating. And I know life's not perfect. Like we're always going to have ups and downs in our life. That's life. But I think when you do the work, when you do the inner work, those ups and downs are much easier to navigate. We navigate them with much more ease and grace. We're not in the downs for as long as we may have been if we hadn't have done the work, and we come back up and see to flow through life with much more ease and grace.
I was watching a TED Talk the other day, and her name is Mel somebody, and she's a mindset coach. And
Mel
she
Robbins?
said, that's the one. That's the one. So I was supposed to watch it for some reason. And she was going, it's not fine. All these people that go, how's your family? They're fine. How's your love life? It's fine. How's your work? It's fine. She said it's not fine. It's not supposed to be fine, because it's basically a cop out for saying that it's not everything that it should be, but it's fine. So it's just not fine. So on that note, I'm going to stop the streaming, and thank you again, Kim. And you've got Kim's contact details there if you want to speak with her. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already.
Thanks to everyone who joined. Bye.